Welcome to the Cup of Joe Sports Show. I'm your host, Joe Wittman, and for the next few minutes, I'm going to be giving you just a taste of the week in sports. First off, shall we start with the University of Duke basketball team? I'm sure you've heard of them by now. They're freaking amazing. Probably one of Coach K's best teams ever, as long as Zion Williamson is healthy. If you're over the age of 35, you might remember a movie called Blue Chips. Does it seem familiar to you? Let's see. Grizzled veteran coach Nick Nolte is handed a amazing collection of all-American basketball players thanks to friends of the program. And, you know, it's got Penny Hardaway, R.J. Barrett. It's also got Shaquille O'Neal, Zion Williamson. Oh, and let's just toss in Cam Reddish and Trey Jones to round out that all-American team for Duke. It's ridiculous the amount of talent that Duke has on this basketball team. If Zion Williamson is healthy, which, who knows? He's sat out for like 3 or 4 games now because, you know, maybe it's that he's looking at this number 1 draft pick and multi-million-dollar contract, or, you know, maybe he actually is got an injury that he's worried about. Who am I to blame him? You know, if I had that much money looking at me, I'd probably do the same thing. But the point here is that these teams, these super teams, are the fault of the NBA and college basketball. One and done. What a joke. All right? Let's be honest. These kids that are coming right out of high school, these studs that are the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 recruits, they're not going to school to go to school. The whole world knows that. They're going to school to play basketball for 1 year, get their ticket to ride, and then they're going to the NBA. That's not the way it really should work now, should it? Let's let them go. If they're that good, go right to the NBA, because that's where you belong anyways. Let's be honest. Zion Williamson is the best basketball player in the country. He should be in an NBA uniform right now. He's that good. There's no reason to make these kids play 1 year of college basketball and then go to the NBA. Let them go. And to be honest, I think the NCAA, which I don't enjoy saying those 4 letters because I don't really like the NCAA for multiple reasons, you know what? Make a kid go into college ball and play at least 2 or 3 years, like in some of the other sports. You'd make for better college basketball in general, I think, because you'd have players that are there to play to win as a team, and they're not worried about their interests. You know, they're not worried about, oh, I'm going to the NBA next year, this big fat contract, and this shoe dealership, this shoe is going to, Adidas or Nike, they're going to fight over me and whatever. Who knows what's going on behind the scenes with the shoe dealerships anyways? Dealerships. No one has a shoe dealership. Shoe companies would make a whole lot more sense, wouldn't it? But I've already said dealership, so we're going to stick with that. Coach K, let's be honest. If he doesn't win a national title with this basketball team and a healthy Zion Williamson, it's a fail. It's a big fail in my mind. Too much talent on the court. Literally, he's got 5 All-Americans. The number 1 and number 2 picks in the NBA draft are in their starting lineup. When they are healthy and they're all playing, it's an amazing machine to watch. And like I said, if they don't win, you got to mark that down as a big failure for Coach K. I know he's great, one of the best coaches of all time. However, when you're handed this kind of talent, you got to come through. Okay? Let's move on to something that I hope we all hold near and dear to our hearts. MLB baseball. It's that time of year, folks. Spring training, the boys are out there. They're already getting injured, making GM sweat a little bit, trying to figure out, oh, maybe I should have signed that guy in the offseason. Now we're going to find some guy off the scrap heap. It's going to be great. Your fan base is freaking out already. Bryce Harper, Manny Machado. How can we not talk about these 2 guys? Congratulations, boys. You've both made over $300 million. Excellent. Who's better? I don't know. I'd like to say Manny Machado is probably the better deal, and maybe the better situation overall. Machado's going to be there for 10 years, and the Padres are loaded with young talent. They'll be coming up soon to add to that firepower in that lineup, which has already got some pretty good hitters with Eric Hosmer. They've got some talent. Will Myers there as well. If they can get some pitching, the Padres could be dangerous. But I think overall, Machado is a really good investment. The guy's a Gold Glove infielder, and he can hit. He hits about 300 a year, about 30 home runs. It's a pretty good investment. Bryce Harper on the other side, let's be honest, folks, the guy likes himself a little too much for me. He really likes himself. kudos to you, Bryce Harper, for making your $330 million, and you're going to live in Philadelphia for the next 13 years of your life. Yeah. The dude batted 248 last year, something like that. That's not good. And he hit 30 home runs, and great. That's exciting. 100 RBIs. First time he's ever had 100 RBIs as well. He also has an injury history, which is a red flag. So I don't know. I don't know about Bryce Harper. Another thing I think is funny is they talk about the no opt outs in his contract. Do you really think that was Bryce Harper's idea? Come on, you're kidding yourself if you are. That was totally the Phillies making him take the no opt out because they didn't want him to walk in 5 years. That wasn't Bryce Harper saying, "Oh, I just want to settle down somewhere." He's not kidding anybody here. He's not fooling anybody. All right, the guy lives in Vegas. All right, that's where he's going to be going. He'll have a charter plane. That's pretty much what happens with these guys. All right, allow them to live somewhere completely different from when they're playing. I could be way wrong, but the whole opt out thing that was their idea, that's a bunch of baloney. All right, you don't believe Scott Boras for a second wanted an opt out, didn't want an opt out clause. So MLB Players Union, we got a problem. Everyone's talking about, oh, all these guys aren't signed. This is a big problem. The owners don't want to spend the money. They got the money. Okay, they do have the money, but does it make sense to sign an aging starting pitcher to a 5-year contract when in a year there's a really good chance that his skills are going to diminish and he'll probably get hurt again? That's a bad investment, okay? Here's what you need to do because you're worried about all these second tier guys not getting signed. You need to have a salary cap and a salary floor. This would solve a lot of problems. This would make these teams that everyone thinks are tanking, you have to spend $150 million every year. Your cap is $200 million. You can't go over. None of this luxury tax bullcrap, which everyone knows doesn't mean anything to the teams with all the money. Create a hard ceiling and a hard floor. Okay? Cap it. Everyone has to play by the same rules, and everyone has the same amount of money. That would change a lot of things. And a lot of these guys would get signed because teams will have money to spend. They have to spend it. That's the bottom line. The Players Union, of course, I don't know if they'll ever agree to that. They'll probably never agree to a salary cap, which is a joke because pretty much every other major sport in the world has a salary cap of some sort in place. And people say, "Oh, the luxury tax." That's not a salary cap. That's just a little nugget that someone tossed out to make everyone feel better. But it's not a true salary cap, and it doesn't really affect anyone, especially the rich teams. They got more money than they know what to do with. They don't care. So hopefully, spring is eternal. Everyone's undefeated right now, so who knows? Maybe it'll be a Padres White Sox World Series. No, that's not going to happen. Lastly, let's move on to the NFL Draft. It's an exciting time. They had the Combine, which I think is a complete joke, but they do it every year anyways. Everyone's talking about Kyler Murray. Yes, he's going to be the number one pick. I don't know if that's a good pick. Yeah, I think the kid's got an amazing amount of talent. Absolutely. He can throw a football, okay, really well, and he's really fast. However, in the NFL, it just takes that one hit from that Pro Bowl defensive lineman. Jadeveon Clowney comes around the corner and wipes him out. He could be out for the whole year. I mean, the dude's not very big. It's not like he's Ben Roethlisberger sitting back in the pocket. He is not a big human being, and if he takes a shot, it could be bad. That is the only reason I would say maybe don't take him number one. I know everyone's like, well, Baker Mayfield's not very big, and look how well he's worked out. Okay, it's a short period of time that we've seen so far from Baker Mayfield, and we'll see where that goes. So far, so good. Everyone's different. I think Kyler Murray with the number one pick by the Cardinals would be a mistake. They have a really good quarterback. And Josh Rosen, I think they got to give him some time. The kid is pretty much, everyone over the years have said he's got the mind of a really great quarterback. I mean, he went to all those camps. He was, Peyton Manning pretty much was one of his mentors. The kid knows how to play football. However, he's playing behind a Cardinals line that is awful. I mean, I'm a Giants fan, and I've seen awful offensive lines, and the Cardinals line is right up there with the Giants. Really, really bad. So, hopefully they can make some additions and help him out. And I think he puts up really good numbers and takes the Cardinals to a better place. But who knows? These GMs nowadays, they get rid of whoever they want and make rash decisions. I mentioned the Giants. They just let Landon Collins walk away. Pro Bowl safety. And, it's over money. And, I don't know. It's a bad defense to begin with. And now you're going to get rid of your best defensive player. I hope they have a plan. I really do. Because if they don't, things are going to go bad quickly. And that offense that they are like, oh, we've got Saquon and Odell and all these weapons. Well, it doesn't matter if your defense can't stop anybody. That's a problem. The Raiders. The Raiders going to dip into the Kyler Murray sweepstakes? Is Gruden going to be the gambler and do some crazy stuff on draft day? Who knows? That guy's crazy. He really is. Trade away the best defensive lineman in the NFL. So, why not? Let's just kick Derek Carr to the curb and we'll draft Kyler Murray or Dwayne Haskins or who knows what he's thinking. I don't know. I mean, it's the Raiders. They could do just about anything. I could see the Raiders trading for Odell. Not that the Giants will probably trade him, but I mean, if the right offer comes along, why not? But anyways, the NFL draft will be interesting. There's some pretty decent talent out there. A lot of defensive linemen. We got Bosa and Oliver, the kid from Michigan, Gary. Some really good edge rushers. It just really depends on needs, like always, and who's ready to wheel and deal. Well, that's about it for this podcast. But before we leave, I must leave with the WTF of the show. Don't you hate it when you're on an elevator and then there's the elevator moron? You know who I'm talking about. When you're getting ready to get off the elevator, it's that moron who, before you can actually get off the elevator, he gets on the elevator and you can't actually get off. It's actually awkward. You have to squeeze around him or her. Yeah. What the fudge, people? Okay? Don't be an elevator moron. That's it. That's all I got for this show. Thanks for listening to the Cup of Joe Sports Show. I'll see you next time. Shameless plug. I do like Fat Tire by New Belgium. It's fantastic. See you later.